When Jan Vermeer inherited his father's innkeeping and art dealer's businesses in Delft in Holland at the age of 20, and married into a fairly wealthy Catholic family a year later, two things became clear. He was not going to have all the time he wanted to devote to his passion for painting, but he might just have enough income to paint and experiment how he liked. We don't know where he learnt to paint. Delft had several well-known painters at that time, but Vermeer was already an accomplished history painter in his early 20s. His Catholic mother-in-law Maria may also have influenced him to paint some religious themes. Then he changed direction, but before Vermeer settled on his now famous interiors, he experimented with one bordello scene, a popular Dutch genre in the 1620s and 1630s. After these tentative steps, he adopted the current fashion of painting a few discrete figures set in well-to-do interiors, the first of which was the woman asleep. Whilst this painting is not set in the room which would feature in most of Vermeer's future works, the table rug and ornaments, the Spanish chair with the lion head finials, paintings on the wall and long views, here through an open doorway, were to become common in his work. The girl reading a letter, painted in 1658, shows us for the first time the room Vermeer was to work in. He constructed many scenes and finishes here, but the room stayed basically the same. You can see this in the glass of wine of around 1660, which shows Vermeer, still only 28, at his best. The muted colours of the walls and the floor contrast with the bright colours of the window, the girl's expensive dress, and the table rug. The way Vermeer has handled the light on the back of the chair with an early mandolin resting on it is exceptional. The scene is puzzling though. It is supposedly one of courtship, but only the girl is drinking wine. The music lesson of 1662 is an example of Vermeer's mastery of perspective. It has often been thought that he used the camera obscura in some of his work. This box-like device was used to convert a three-dimensional scene into a two-dimensional image. But follow all the structural lines in the scene, the skirting board, the floor tiles and the windowsills. All converge on the girl's left elbow, which is bathed in sunlight. Restorers have found nothing more complicated here than a pinhole from where Vermeer would have set up his guidelines. In the mirror, Vermeer plays a little trick on us. The foot of his easel can just be seen at the top. The small painting, The Girl with the Red Hat, 1666, one of a pair of pendants meant to be hung together, shows Vermeer's skill with colour and light. The dull tones of the room and the girl's face cast in shadow contrast dramatically with the part of her face in light and the flame-red colour of her feathered hat. It is this bold touch with colours that led 19th century Impressionists to view some of Vermeer's work as forerunners of their own style. They felt art should be about vision, not narrative or symbolism. The next three paintings follow a theme, a mistress, a servant and a letter, but in different relationships. In The Mistress and the maid is explaining something to her mistress, who listens on pensively. In the next painting, while the mistress is totally absorbed with writing a letter, the servant waits patiently in the background, lost in other thoughts. In the third painting, The Love Letter, the roles are almost reversed. There is a moment of frisson as the maid, with a wry smile, hands the letter to her mistress, whose anxious face Vermeer has caught beautifully. At the young age of 43, Jan Vermeer died, leaving his wife Katharina to look after their 10 children and to sell off his remaining works to pay off his debts. In all, only 37 works survive. Today, despite slipping into obscurity after his death, Vermeer is rightly acknowledged as one of the greatest painters of the Dutch Golden Age.